about today's Navi. So basically, if you look on this map, you'll see there's a place called Gilgal. I'm going to point it out actually so you guys can see it. I have a little highlighter here. So this place is called Gilgal or Gilgal. This is the Jordan River. Here's the Dead Sea. And this is where the Jewish people were camping. They have attacked the city of Jericho, which is somewhere over here where I'm pointing. They've attacked the city of Ai, which is now where my highlighter is pointing. And they're basically camping in Gilgal. There is a place called Givon, the Givonim. And here is, I guess, where the Givonite city is, right over here. However, there's going to be an encounter between the Givonites, the Givonim, and the Jewish people, I guess right here, number 2, where number 2 is, there's going to be a ploy played by the Givonites, and there's going to be a conversation, which you're going to see in today's story in the Navi. Okay, so join me as we showed you a little bit of the map. I think that should be pretty clear. Nice map that we just saw, and let's learn inside. We're holding chapter 9, and we're learning about the continuation of what takes place after the Jews win Ai. So just to recap, we learned that there was a miraculous war against Jericho, against Jericho, and then there was a loss. They lost the war against Ai because some of the Jews one Jew stole some of the donated items and he wasn't allowed to take it. So Hashem was not with them and they ended up losing the war. And after losing the war, they had another war and they led a physical attack against Ai and they win it. And now that's where our Navi today takes place. Chapter 9. When all the kings heard Asher be'ever hayardain, that were on the other side of the Jordan River, on the western side of the Jordan River. Bahar, Vashvela, wherever they lived, they were in the mountainous terrain or in the valleys. Uvachol, Chayf Hayam Hagadol, and along the entire shore of the Mediterranean Sea, the Great Sea, the Mediterranean Sea, all along Israel. El Mul Halavanoin, facing opposite of Lebanon. And who were the names of those countries? You had the Hittites, the Amorites, the Canaanites, sorry, the Perizzites, the Chivis, and the Jebusites, the Yevusis. They were all there. All these 6 countries were there. Now, they hear what's going on. And they hear, according to different commentaries, what do they hear? They hear that 2 major cities were just destroyed. 2 towns, 2 cities were destroyed. The city of Jericho, and the city of Ai was destroyed, and now they're going to get together, as we're going to see in verse 2. They get together, to fight against Joshua and Yisrael with the Jewish people. In one mouth, in one accord, they're going to fight them together. I guess city by city is not going to work. So they're going to team up. These countries, 6 of the 7 countries, are going to team up and fight the Jewish people. Which country is missing here? Girgashi, the Girgashites are missing. Why are they missing? So in the commentary here in the Navi that I have, he brings down, he says, look, the Jews didn't just attack and fight a war against the people in Israel. They gave them 3 options. They basically had 3 options. One option is pick up and leave. You can go. And the Girgashites migrated to Africa, actually. They said, we don't want to move. God decided that you have to leave this country now, and the Jewish people need to go here, and you sinned and don't belong in the land anymore. They said, you know what? We're going to take defeat, pick themselves up, and move out. So there were 7 countries there at the time. One of the 7 picked up and moved out, but there's still 6 left. Now, and they had another option. They could stay, actually. The commentaries here bring down, he says that they had an option to stay, but they had to accept the 7 Noahide laws and pay taxes and national service, and then they could stay. I don't know if this is accepted by everyone, just off memory here. I'm not sure this is according to all opinions, but at least what I have here, he says that they had an opinion. They could stay, accept the 7 Noahide laws, not to serve idols, to be kind, you make courts, whatever the 7 Noahide laws are, and they could stay there. Or the third option is fight. So either leave, accept Hashem. You don't have to do the mitzvahs of Jews. Just keep the 7 Noahide laws and become help out and pay taxes. You're good. Or your third option is you're going to have to fight a war. So 6 out of the 7 take the option to fight a war. 6 out of the 7. 1 of the 7 leaves. 6 out of the 7 says we're not accepting. No one accepted the second deal. So we're going to fight. It ends up being that after 6 of the 7 nations in Israel at the time want to fight, one of them actually backs out. Okay, so if you looked in verse 1, there's a group called the Chivis. The Chivis, they have part of them at least is called the Givonim, which I showed you on the map, and they don't like the war that they decided they're going to join the other countries, and they want to back out. So let's see what happens. And they devise a plan how they could stay locally, and they're going to come up with a scam to see how they could stay locally and stay there. And they're going to try and accept the deal of staying local. Let's see. One of the groups in Israel, the name were the Givonites, who did not want to leave. They wanted to stay and first decided to battle. And when they had a change of heart after they came to their senses, I guess, and they saw what the Jews did to Jericho and Ai, to those 2 cities. So verse 4, Vayasu ganhema ba'arma. They also acted with guile, with wile, with trickery. Vayelchu, and they went. And I'm going to read you in a second their trickery that they did. But there's an interesting piece of history which Rashi brings down here. Who were these Givonim? Who were they? He says that they are a great-great-grandson of a story that we had in the Chumash before. We know this, many of you will remember, that there was somebody called Shechem, Nabulus, the son of Hamor, and they raped Dinah, one of Jacob's daughters. And when Shimon and Levi found out about it, they also made a fake plan. They tricked them, and they told everyone, if you do a bris milah circumcision, we will marry among you. And it was the 3rd day and all the male was in pain. The 2 boys came in tricky and killed all the males for seducing / raping their sister. And they killed them. They acted with trickery. So these are the same people that Shimon and Levi did a trick on them. They are doing a trick back now on the Jewish people. So it's just interesting how history, whatever it repeats itself, evolves. It's amazing how what happened once continues to affect the Jewish people. But this is at least one of the ideas in history that Rashi brings down. So what do? Vayelchu vayitzayaru. They go and they dress up in disguise as travelers. They're travelers. They're ambassadors of travelers. They dress up very well. You'll see they plan it to the T. Vayikchu sakim. And they take sacks, bulim, that were worn out, very worn out, l'chamayreim on their donkeys. So they look really worn out. V'noya dois yayin, and they had wine sacks, wine bottles, some kind of things, wine sacks they carried wine in. Bulim, they were also very worn out. Muvkayim, umitzayrim, they were rotten, they were split, they were tied together. They made a factitious site as if they planned this very, very smart, very thoroughly to make the Jews think that they were not local inhabitants. And look what they do. Una always bloyes, not just did they have all those disguises put on, they had their shoes on their feet were worn, umutulois, and they were patched. Looked like they walked miles and miles of ripped and torn shoes, but on their feet. Uslamis bloyes. And their garments were worn alay, that they wore on them, the garments and the animals, the garments of themselves, chalechem sedam, and all the provisions, the bread they had, yavish, were dried out, hayunikudim, and they were moldy, or they were like toasted, some kind of way, whatever the bread that's affected, you take with you after being on a journey for a very long time. So these people disguised as very distant merchants, but really they're local. The Gabonites, I showed you on the map where they were very close to where the Jewish people were. And they went to Joshua Lamachna to the camp. They come up, this whole group of people, Hagilgal, and they were in the area called Gilgal then. That's where the Jewish people were. Vayimru Elav, and they said to him, B'cholish Yisrael, and to all the Jewish people, Meretz Rechoy Kabana, we came from a very far away place. V'ata kirsul on a bris, and make with us a covenant. We want to make a covenant with you. I'm going to go back to the map for a second, just so you guys can see again the image where it was. So Gilgal is to the right, where the Jewish people encamp, Joshua's camp. Givon is to the left, and 2, I guess, is somewhere they're meeting up. Givon's traveling to Gilgal, and they're meeting up with the Jewish people, and they want to make a peace treaty, and they're pretending like they're from some really this far away country when they're very, very local. Okay, let's go on. Vayomer, and they said to him, verse 7, Ish Yisrael to the Elachivi. I'm sorry. They say they want to make peace. So the Jewish people don't buy it. Yomeru Ish Yisrael Elachivi. So the Jewish people tell the Chivite nation, they're one of the 6 nations that remained in Israel, the Chivites. Maybe you are really our locals. You sit among us. And how can we make a peace, a covenant? How do we know you're really from far away? So then they go to Joshua and they try to work it out with Joshua. They say to Yeshua, we are your servants. We don't just want to make a peace treaty with you. We will serve you. And Joshua says, well, who are you? Where are you from? You want to make a peace treaty with me? Where are you guys from? And they say, we're from a far away land, distant land. Very far. We came, L'Shem Hashem, in the name of God we've come, because of the name of God. Kishamanu Shimoy. We heard the unbelievable name of Hashem that's gone out. We heard all the things that happened in Egypt, right? Egypt was 40 years ago. We came because when we left, we heard about what happened in Egypt. And we also heard, and we know what you did to the 2 Amorite kings when Moses was alive before they crossed over the Jordan. We know even that recent information of what you killed the 2 powerful countries of the Amorite countries before crossing over the Jordan. To the king, Sichon, who was the king of Cheshbon that fortified major city, and to the giant, the king Og, the famous giant from the Bashan area, that's in the area called Ashtarais. And we heard the unbelievable miracle when the elders among our far away distant country that heard these miracles from months ago said, all the people of our land said, go take food, go pack yourselves up, take food for the way, and go to meet up with these Jewish people. And say to them, we will be your servants, we will serve you. And make with us a covenant. And look at our food. What do you mean we're locals? How could it be? Look at our food. We come from very far away. This is our bread. When we left, it was hot, warm bread. When we took it out of our houses to come to walk to you, look, it's dry, it's moldy, it's toasted. Look what happened to our food. We're from very far away. We're not locals. And here are the wine bags, the wine things. That we filled chadashim. They were new. We're so long on our journey to you that the wine things have become split. They're old. Look at our clothes and our shoes. They came from so far away that our shoes are all worn out and our clothes are all worn out. Look, how can we be locals? Very interesting. So they really devised a very detailed plan to convince the Jews. By the way, they don't mention, I saw one of the commentaries said, they don't mention the miracle of the Jews conquering Jericho or Ai. You know why? Because they want to pretend like they came from far away. They started coming before that miracle even happened. It's a more recent miracle. We don't know about it. It just happened in the last couple of days. You know why? Because we're from so far away. We didn't even, wasn't part of the conversation when we left our country. And the Jewish people took from their provisions, meaning they bought into the scam. And they did not ask Hashem. They went on their own. They're like, listen, this is a true story. Instead of asking God what to do, they just accepted that the provisions and the whole ploy here was for real, was legit. They asked them Yeshua Shalom, and Joshua ended up making peace with them. And he made a covenant to allow them to live. And then on top of that, the elders of the Jewish people got together and they swore, we're going to take care of you. You have nothing to worry about. We promise and we swear to you that you have nothing to worry about. We will promise we'll take care of your country. And they make a peace treaty with these people and their country that they're from. And then in the Navi, we will find out that this was all a scam. This all wasn't true. This was really locals who lived very close by, as I showed you on the map. And we'll continue, God willing, with Hashem's help in the future with this part of the Navi. Any questions or